Hey, 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 hey.
Hello.
Levels 1.
Levels 2. We are live. Wow.
That was fucking weird. Hey guys, welcome to this, the first ever episode, the pilot episode. If it goes well, we might do it again, of VIVE Group's podcast. We have no idea what we're doing. We've got some new gear. We've got some things to chat about, but we're just going to have a bit of a play, put this out, see what you guys think, see whether you like it, see whether it's something we should keep doing, and go from there. So how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Really enjoying the new office, enjoying the new learning this new stuff. I've never done podcasts, so this is very much new to me.
Yeah, I've done call-in podcast. We've both done call-in podcasts.
Yes.
But we've never had to actually sit here in front of a mic. So I'm going to apologise to you guys watching or listening at home. We're going to be a bit of this going on. We'll try not to, but we're not used to the whole microphone life. But we'll get there. We'll get there. We probably should get into something actually useful before they turn this off. So we're just going to talk about what is on our mind, what's going on in the the CrossFit or the fitness or the business world or whatever. So what I wanted to start by talking about is I'm tired, bro. I'm real tired. I slept a little under 4 hours last night.
It's not good, man.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast recently from Joe Rogan. He had a guy on there talking about sleep and it scared the shit out of me. I've been sleeping at least 7 hours every night, so I don't know what you're doing 4 hours.
Yeah, I'd love to say that I was out tearing it up. I was out partying. I was out Broadbeach, but I wasn't. I was lying in bed, crippled with anxiety, crippled with the thoughts that as business owners we just have sometimes. And so that's what I want to talk about today, because I think a lot of people, they think they're the only ones who have these stresses. They're the only ones who go through this. That it's a weakness. That it's abnormal, to lie in bed staring at the ceiling, or to, wake up early in the morning and not be able to go back to sleep because you've got a million thoughts running through your mind. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there because it's, I've been doing this running a business nonsense for 16 years now, 17 years now. And I might be wrong. There might be someone out there that is so successful and has their shit so wide tight that they'll jump up and say like, hey, no, I sleep perfectly every night. But I think it's fair to say that, this business thing's a roller coaster.
Look, I think even if you're not a business owner, I think people have stress and anxiety just working a 9 to 5, and these people can come home and switch off from work because they're not responsible for the business. So yeah, so for a business owner, it's compounded in the fact that you've got the normal day-to-day stresses and anxiety from family life and all the expectations that goes with that. Plus, on top of that, you're responsible for a business. Perhaps if you've got staff, you're responsible for their lives. So, I doubt there's a business owner out there that doesn't deal with some form of stress or anxiety. Even, you can have methods and techniques of dealing with it, but even then, I think we all have those moments. Those seasons of just feeling burnt out, tired, stressed, more so than normal.
Yeah. Well, you know yourself that, my nightly routine is an hour of stretching and meditating.
I wish you guys could see this routine. We should film it. It's extensive. It's excessive. It's very funny to watch. I don't have a nighttime routine. I just lie my head down and sleep. But yeah, I have witnessed Ty's nighttime routine many a times, traveling and. Yeah, go on. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so it's what I have to do. Dude, if I don't have a nighttime routine, forget about it. Forget your life. I'm not sleeping any night. Like physically, I've been lucky enough to experience life, but I've been unlucky enough to physically experience life. So I've got plenty of injuries to show for it. So physically, I can't sleep without stretching. You've seen my intense. Would you say I'm supple? Would that be fair?
The breathing's heavy, that's all I know. The breathing during the stretches are heavy. You're actually more mobile than I am, I think. You're pretty mobile. You're pretty mobile.
Yeah, I wouldn't really. I'm not going to put that on a certificate and put it on a wall, but
yeah,
I've seen rusty hinges that are more mobile than you, to be fair. You kind of look like a rusty hinge, actually. Shut up. That's all good. No, so anyway, the point I'm getting at here, guys, is a lot of box owners, when we're talking to them, they will tell us these same kind of stories. They will say, I'm not sleeping, or I'm stressed out, or I'm whatever. And look, if it's every night, then your shit's broken. For me, this is relatively rare. Once a month, if I'm having a really bad time, or if we've just got a lot going on with work and I'm not managing it as well as I should. Maybe it's once a week, which is far too often. But I just wanted to kind of bring it up so that you guys watching at home know you're not alone. Because when we talk to box owners about this, and they tell us like, oh yeah, sometimes I have trouble sleeping, and they say like they're the only person in the world to experience that. But I just want to throw that out so that you guys know that I don't want to normalize it, because I don't want us to accept it. I think we should always be trying to fix it or trying to manage it better. But the ebb and flow it's just part of, we put our ass on the line to be business owners, and this is the flip side of it.
Yeah. And I think if I think about the times that I lie awake at night, it's just thinking about stuff. So it's finally I get a chance where my mind can just think, because all day I've been busy doing stuff, and now I've got the space where I can just think on things. Yeah. So I think if for me what really works is if you actually create that thinking space during your day. So for me it's I walk my dog. So I walk my dog for an hour, and that thinking happens, that kind of processing happens during that hour, so that when I get home and I'm ready for bed, I've done the thinking, I've done the mulling over of the day's activities. So yeah, I think if you can prioritize some time where you can think before bedtime, that should help, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely good times. I think the other thing, we're talking about this at lunch, but the other thing is especially when you're a new business owner or when things haven't been going well, there's this tendency to think, if I'm at the bottom now, things will just get better, and they'll continue to get better for it, and they'll always go up, But no matter how well you do things, no matter how great you are at this business game, they'll go up, hopefully, if you're good, but they'll go down eventually. And then they'll go up, and if you manage everything perfectly, you're still going to have these fucking shitty moments.
Yeah, it's like, I was just thinking about it's probably a dumb analogy, but I was thinking about like a game, like once you get to the next level, you kind of get to the next level of business, there's new giants to face, there's new battles to fight at that new level. So just because you've kind of made it through those beginning stages, you're now at a new level, there's new challenges. It's like you say, it's always going to be up and downs. Yeah,
100%. So the only reason I want to talk about this, guys, is so that if you are experiencing this and you feel like you're the only person in the world that's gone through this, you're not. I'm yet to meet a business owner who doesn't go through this in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's
100%.
If it's an every night thing, if you haven't had a good night's sleep in a couple of years, maybe get that sorted out. But
also listen to a podcast from Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I've actually avoided listening to that podcast.
I know you have. I've been hammering him about listening to it, because I think it like literally scared me into making sure I get enough sleep, to the point where I downloaded an app that now tracks my sleep hours and my sleep quality, because it's such an important thing, I believe. So
yeah, that's why I'm avoiding it, because then I'll know what to do, and I'll have the tools, and I'll have to do it, and I just I'm bitching out about it. Let's be honest. All right, the other thing I want to talk about. Man, these segues are smooth, aren't they?
So smooth,
killing the game. We're seasoned podcast pros over here. The other thing I wanted to talk about is something that is super regular. I'm talking to box owners. We're talking to box owners every week about this. Yesterday, Monday, I had 3 of these conversations with 3 separate box owners. Plus, we discussed it a lot, which is the big elephant in the room. Should you re-affiliate? Or it's not even affiliation, really. It's should you use, for those who are listening who are CrossFit boxers, and we got other businesses here as well, but should you use the CrossFit brand name? And it's a big deal. And like I said, just in one day yesterday, I had 3 boxers hit me up, varying levels from, one box, it was just kind of a throw out there question. It wasn't really on their mind too much. Another box, it was, we're doing this, how do we execute it? Like their mind was made up.
Yeah. And I think, if you asked this question maybe 6 months ago to a year ago, I think we would have had a very definite answer on this, a very, clear stance on it. But I think today it's a lot more like, I think there's so many boxes now that have de-affiliated or not using the CrossFit name and still doing really well, that it probably is time to revisit the question and see what is the story here, Yeah, and I honestly don't think it's not about CrossFit HQ or about what they're doing. It's very much about what do you want to be doing as a gym owner. And I think there's so many gym owners now that are doing really cool stuff that perhaps doesn't fall within the banner of CrossFit and the stuff they're really passionate about. And so, to those people, I say go for it. If you've evolved your business to a point where you feel like it's so much broader now than just the CrossFit programming or CrossFit methodology, then why not create your own brand?
Yeah, you got to be true to the brand.
Yeah,
what's on your front door has to represent who you are,
exactly.
And your values and stuff. one thing I will say, and I want to make this super clear to anyone listening, because I know there's a lot of people who are having this thought right now. The boxers that have de-affiliated or even just stayed as affiliates and just changed their name, moved away from the CrossFit brand, that have moved on to be successful, they were always going to be successful whether they had CrossFit on their door or not. The boxers that move away from CrossFit and shut down were always going to shut down. You know what I mean? The name on the front of the door isn't going to determine whether you succeed or fail. So I'm 100% about this conversation. I think this is the hot conversation right now. A lot of box owners want to talk about it. But if a box owner calls me up and thinks that they can blame the brand or blame HQ.
Get out of here.
If they think that just getting rid of that name is going to suddenly get them an influx of members, you're fucking out of your mind. You're not only you're out of your mind, but you're offloading responsibility.
Exactly.
And if that's your personality type, I'm not saying this to be a dick. I'm saying this to save you a lot of heartache. Shut your business down. Like, make what you can off the rollers that you can sell on Facebook Marketplace and get the fuck out of here. Go work for another gym, because you cannot be successful in any industry, in any business, let alone in the fitness industry. A lot of people forget we're in the fitness industry, bro. This is a dog-eat-dog, exploitative, fucking hardcore industry to be a part of, and people think that they can come in and just willy-nilly hobby this bitch. It's fucking insane. I'm swearing way too much. I'm getting fired up. But the point is, if you think that you can externalize blame at this level, I would hate to see what you're doing at every other level of business.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you got to be very sure that you want to create your own brand, because the CrossFit brand is a pretty well established, pretty well known brand, and so, you know, for you, like, to start a new brand from scratch, it's going to take probably a lot harder work than people realize. You know, like, no one knows who you are. I don't care how cool your name is, how cool your logo is. No one knows who you are, but they do know what the word CrossFit means and what that stands for. So, like, for me, for example, my gym, I'm very much, you know, I don't want to complicate my gym or add too many kind of cogs to the wheel. So we're very much CrossFit's what we deliver. That's our program. And so for me, it makes a lot of sense to continue operating under that brand, that name, because that's what I want to do as a business owner. I don't want to diversify into, you know, a bunch of different services and, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's this is the other thing that people miss is, okay, cool. You had that conversation. You decided to rebrand. Okay, cool. Firstly, we have to acknowledge that the number one reason that people want to de-affiliate is because they can't afford affiliation. Whether they're willing to admit that or not, that's the number one reason, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, it is. And so,
it's true.
So that's fine. That's okay. Be honest, take responsibility and say, you know what, I don't know if we can pay affiliation this year. And by the way, if you want to stay an affiliate and you can't pay affiliation, I obviously don't speak for HQ, but I've talked to lots of boxers where they've worked out payment plans, and they want to keep you as an affiliate. At the end of the day, it's in their best interest. You know, they're not ruthless, you know, heartless bitches most of the time. But yeah, so firstly, don't externalize and just be honest. If you can't afford it, you can't fucking afford it.
Yeah.
That's fine, right? It's not HQ's problem that you're not great at business, right? Yeah. But then if you do want to leave and you have legitimate reasons, you know, most of the people I talked to yesterday had legitimate reasons for leaving. You know, I support their decisions, you know. Like you said, they're just not CrossFit anymore. Their brand has evolved and changed into something else. Awesome, but be aware that the challenge you're about to face is significant, because people think, oh, I need a new brand. Okay, well, here's our new name and our new logo. It's not a fucking brand. It's a name and a logo, you know. You have to look at everything from the conceptual of what do we stand for, what won't we stand for. When people see our trademark, what do they think about us? What are we known for in the community? What are our values? What are our morals? How do we execute those values and morals on a daily basis? Like, before we get into the colors and the font and the icon and the website and, you know, and then how you execute that within the gym, you have so much to go through. CrossFit has an established culture, and it's not an unspoken culture. It's a very clear culture, and it's known, you know, worldwide, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there's misconceptions, but like when people say, "Oh, everyone who sees CrossFit thinks that they're going to get injured," it's fucking insane. You're talking to the wrong people, or you're listening to certain
most of the people that think that are people that are in the industry doing something else. You know, your personal trainers or your people that are following different flavors of fitness brands will hate on CrossFit. The average human being that I know doesn't complain or bag CrossFit at all. And then what you were saying, you know, like let's pretend you do have all these things in place for your brand, you know what you're about and all that stuff. You can't get around time. Like you need time for that you need time for that brand to become established. You know, you can't get around that. And that's where for me, a massive value is just the longevity and the proven, track record that CrossFit has. For me is super valuable. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to make it clear, because I've made this very clear in the past, and some of you guys might think that I've changed my mind on this. My 100% official stance is that affiliation is still worth it. It's definitely worth, what is it, $5,000 now, something like that.
It's still cheap. You can still get
so cheap.
If you use the name correctly, if you take advantage of everything that CrossFit gives you, it's cheap. You can look at the thing. You can look at it two ways. The way I look at it is I take everything I can from that name and I suck it dry for what it's worth, you know. Yeah. Like I use their content they put out because it's flipping awesome content. I just try and take advantage as much as I can from the brand, you know. Yeah.
And that's it. You know, I use the analogy that, you know, when a box owner says to me, you know, and this is simplifying the question, but if they say, oh, should we invest in buying an Airdyne? My answer is, well, are you going to use it? Right? If it's just there because the box down the road has got more of them than you, then it's a bad idea. But if you're going to use it, if you're going to work it, if you're going to get every drop out of that thing you can, then fuck yeah, it's worth it. It's the same thing with the CrossFit brand. If you think that you're going to pay $5,000, put it on the front door, and then just sit back with your hands in your pockets waiting for members to run at you, you're out of your mind. You have to use that brand. So every time a box owner says, oh, HQ doesn't do enough for me, the first thing I do is I go to their Facebook page and see how many of these amazing videos of HQs they're sharing. And it's donuts. It's
man. Every client I work with now, I get them to take the recipes that CrossFit put out. If you haven't seen these, go to CrossFit HQ's YouTube channel. They've got these really cool videos with like 1-minute videos showing cool recipes that you can make at home. And so I get all my clients to utilize those and repost them. Because the thing is, you know, the person down the road here, the person in your community, they don't know CrossFit HQ. If you put something out with the brand CrossFit on it and you are a CrossFit affiliate, they think that you've created that video. Okay, I can guarantee you, they think that that's your content. And so, take advantage of that by all means. Yeah,
and you know, take it from two people who understand media reasonably well. It's fucking good content.
It's really good content.
You know, for the longest time, up until recently, obviously, HQ was the largest independent media company in California, right? Not so much now, but up until recently they were, right? They know what they're doing. You know, these everyone wants to laugh at them, but these videos that they're doing of the elderly people in the custom set that they built that looks like it's from Everyone Loves Raymond, right? They're fucking great videos.
They are.
They're brilliant. You know, we can laugh and make memes about them, but you know, it's so funny. You get box owners that have complained for years that HQ should do more to help box owners and more to help the real people, and then HQ decides to make that decision. Now, granted, they executed poorly. They executed fucking terribly. It was written on a post-it note and passed around the room and got scrunched up, and no one knew what it was. Fucking that was bad. But their intentions were correct, and their direction, I think, is better than ever. And now the people who have been, box owners have been complaining for years, saying, "Oh, I wish that they'd be more about us," and real people are complaining because fucking regionals aren't on anymore. They can't have their piss up in Amsterdam again or wherever it is, Denmark or whatever.
Interesting fact on that. I was watching Craig Ritchie, Team Ritchie on YouTube. I was watching his interview with Greg Glassman, and he says that the approach was intentional. The approach you just described as a scrunch up piece of paper. He reckons that was their plan to execute it that way. You go watch the YouTube channel, watch a video, and make up your own mind. But on a different note, just on the brand, CrossFit brand, we're driving past a gym yesterday. Joey from CrossFit Urban Energy, big shout out to you. Driving past his gym yesterday, and I saw the CrossFit name and in the actual font that CrossFit uses, and it just it kind of, I don't know, like you don't see many gyms use the actual original font in their branding anymore. And it just kind of gave me the warm fuzzies inside seeing the original CrossFit name and the impact font. I liked it.
I'm a massive fan. I geek out on branding, and I'm a big fan of brand continuity. And obviously, every box has got their own font and typeset and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a big fan of using the original impact font with the word CrossFit, just because it's kind of like if you were if you bought the license to be able to sell Nike products, right? and then you decided to just write Nike on the wall, but in a I don't know, a typewriter font or some crazy thing, like you've just lost the recognition that you paid for in the first place.
Exactly.
So I'm a big fan. If you can make it work with your brand, obviously there's some brands where that thick impact font just clashes with the brand, but yeah, I believe if you can make it fit for sure. It does feel good to see.
And just sitting here thinking, if my business, if I did decide, look, I want to diversify my business and actually add other services that might not fall under the CrossFit brand, I think for me, I would, I might create my own brand to operate under, but I would, for my CrossFit delivery, my CrossFit classes, I'd probably still affiliate and brand those under, sub-brand them under CrossFit, if it makes sense.
Sure.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be one way or the other. If your business is doing really well and you want to expand and, grow, that's great. And why not still stay affiliated and still call them CrossFit classes? Because you can't do that once you de-affiliate. But this way you can still call them CrossFit classes, still deliver those and the other 10 things that you've decided your business is going to be about. So just another thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I think fun fact as well, a lot of people don't know this. I thought that this was a widely known fact, but a lot of people outside of South America and Central America don't know this. So the situation in Mexico is kind of interesting. We've talked about this, I think, before. But so basically in Mexico, and if I butcher this, I apologize, but this is my understanding from doing seminars down there, because I'm an international traveler. I've been to a lot of places. It's fine. Don't make a big deal about it, but it's fine.
I'm not saying anything.
The situation down there is basically that the courts have ruled that the term CrossFit is a generic fitness term, kind of like running or weightlifting, right? And because it's generic, you can't trademark it. You can't say, I own that. And so in Mexico, you've got a situation where you don't have to legally affiliate with HQ. So if you look at maps.crossfit.com in Mexico, you see, I think it's like 100. It might even be less than 100 boxes. But, I know that in some of the smaller cities, what was the city that I was in? Doesn't matter. Keep going, move on. But, a reasonably smaller size city for Mexico at least, there was nearly 200 boxes with the word CrossFit on their door.
That's
and so that's kind of an interesting situation. So then that brings up, I want to put this to you guys who are listening, who have still stuck around for whatever reason. If you were in that situation, would you pay affiliation? If you didn't have to, would you pay affiliation? I know my answer. My answer is purely based on business. But I might keep that, and then I'll give my answer in the comments after a few of you guys give your answer. I can see a bunch of people just saying, yeah, of course, because they're worried HQ is going to read the comments. Anyway.
That's awesome. By the way, your voice I feel like your voice is very podcasty.
Is it?
My voice sounds terrible on my mic. I don't know.
I'm very velvety. I have people on the street quite often come up and just say, do you mind if I listen to you while I go to sleep?
Yeah, I've got to work on my podcast voice.
It's pretty good.
Good.
All right, man. Anything else?
I think that was it, man. I was actually, we got a bit of time left there. We got 5 minutes. Yeah. I was chatting to a client this morning, and what the kind of main theme for the hour call was members being opinionated and trying to tell you how to run your box. We were talking about kids program, and I suggested that they put their kids on memberships, like recurring memberships, rather than paying per term. And they were saying that the parents don't want that; they want to pay per term because they want to go on holidays. And it made me think, if you are going to let your business be dictated the way it's run by the opinion of every second member, it's going to be a mess. And so. Yeah, it just made me, I've been thinking about it all day, it's so important for us as business owners and gym owners to know exactly what we stand for and why we do things the way we do, and for our staff to understand it. Because the reason we do things the way we do is it has to be always because of the members. We're trying to make things better for the members. So there should always be a really good reason, a really healthy reason behind the decisions you make. If there's not, then you need to find some reasons. Because when a member brings up a opinion or say, hey, you should do things this way, you should be able to really clearly explain to them why that doesn't benefit, the members, or the wider members anyway, because often that suggestion or that opinion serves that member really well, but not the wider community. So you got to help them see that, hey, this is why we do it this way, because it serves the wider community. So, what are your thoughts on that?
100%. The last thing my preference is always towards a simple, sleek, slim, fast, high-speed, low-drag business, right? The opposite of that is a Franken business. A business that is built on exceptions, a business that is built, there's just, there's a few rules, there's a few systems, but there's way more exceptions to those rules, and side bits to those systems that are just in your head. You've got to understand what game are we playing, how do we play it best, how do we deliver the service in the best way that we can. And, there's a great, I can't remember who said it, but, listen to your customers, just don't listen too hard. You've got to understand how to give them what they need at a core level, but then you have to decide how to execute on that, Otherwise, you create a business that you can't run. It's so fucking complicated that you can't even keep head nor tails of it, let alone expecting your staff to be able to do that when you want to go on holiday or do less classes or whatever. So, absolutely. You've got to have these procedures, these standards, but you've got to communicate them both with members and with your staff. You made a really good point of your staff. It's not a good look if that member comes back the next day, that mum comes back the next day and is having a bit of a whine about, Coach Vakey said that I can't do this. And, that puts the coach in an uncomfortable position, and they're quite likely, if they don't know the rationale behind, maybe not that decision in particular, but just in general, the rationale why you do what you do, then they're likely to agree with that person, and that just feeds that person's fire and turns into something that didn't need to be. So, yeah, guys, you've got to stick by your guns. Remember, you don't need any one member. That's right. The worst thing you can do for a member, for your members in general, is to close. Yep. So if you keep making these tiny 1% exceptions. There we go. I was about to say extensions. Wow. Shit. 4 hours sleep, baby. If you keep making these exceptions, and you're just slowly chipping away at the integrity of your business as a core. So yeah, absolutely, guys. Decide what. Now, look, if you have 50% of your members that are complaining about a certain procedure, then okay, maybe it's time to look at that. But you can't swing in the wind to every single person. Otherwise, you'll create a Franken business. It'll be a nightmare to run. No one will be able to run it, not even you. And you'll sell your roles for cheap on Facebook Marketplace.
Nice. It's good.
Awesome, man. Killer. All right, guys. Well, let us know, for those who actually stuck around and listened to this, let us know everything. We're noobs in this world.
That's bloody good, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Was it too short? Was it too long? Was the lighting and the setup okay? Was our voice okay? Was my voice too smooth?
Was my voice too smooth?
I'm picking up your fucking South African accent. Let us know what you thought. Let us know, do you want us to do segments? Do you want it to be the same every week? Do you want us to just talk shit? Should I use the word bitch less than I did? I'm tired, guys. Give me a break. But besides that, guys, that's it. First pilot episode of VIVE Group
Come on
podcast. Thank you very much, guys.
Peace out. See you guys.